The Supercar Challenge is powered by Pirelli, Autosportinsurance.com, Syntix Innovative Lubricants, Magla, create your own digital magazine, and Valero, FIA-approved race and rally base layers. Welcome to the Supercar Challenge powered by Pirelli. For the sixth round of the season, the GT and Touring Car Series crosses the English Channel from Europe to travel to what for many outside the UK is a relatively unknown track, Snetterton in Norfolk. 4.8 kilometres long, the circuit's in the eastern part of England. It's popular with drivers because of its combination of fast corners and technical elements. It's a new circuit for the Supercar Challenge powered by Pirelli. Those that can master the demanding track will have the biggest advantage in the two 90-minute races. So perhaps the British guest drivers will be the favourites here, or maybe they won't. The Brits did fare well in Super GT. In the lightweight Praga R1 Turbo, Oliver Hewitt and Tim Gray. And driving a Radical RXC GT3 are Rob Weldon and Tom Ashton. They've chosen the softer medium compound tyre and have plenty of extra grip to utilise. After an all-British battle for every millisecond, Tim Gray and Oliver Hewitt are the only ones to get under the 1 minute 46 second mark, much to their surprise.
We haven't really had that much time with the car, so the car's still very new to us and we're still learning the setup and everything. And until that qualifying session, I hadn't actually driven it on new tyres. So I didn't know how quick I could go. So it was nice to get on a new set of tyres and actually be able to push the car. We'd been changing the car throughout yesterday and today, and it got better, and then it got worse, and then it got better again. But the lap time itself, I'm really surprised, because I kind of hope we might get into the 47s, sort of a high 47, but to do a 46, I was pretty happy with that.
Meanwhile, Mosler drivers Oliver Campos-Hull and Costa Canaroglu look certain to leave Snetterton as the new Super GT Championship leaders. They come to Norfolk only 3 points adrift of Alberto Martin and Pedro Salvador, who do not do this race in the UK, so it should be an easy task to grab the lead. They will, however, have to keep an eye on fellow Mosler driver Berry van Elk. With two fourth fastest times in qualifying, van Elk will start alongside Oliver Campos-Hull for both races. In GTB, Vard Slice is taking no prisoners. JR Motorsport BMW M4 Silhouette is again working superbly. Vard leads the GTB Championship along with co-driver Chris Matthews, but for Snetterton, Michael Verhagen has replaced Matthews, who wasn't free to race. For the 8th time this season, the BMW M4 is on pole position in their class. And yes, that's for both 90-minute races. I think it's mainly the relatively low weight of the car, says Vard. That means you can brake late. The car's definitely not the quickest on the straight. We've only got a small engine, but we make up for that in terms of braking and cornering speed. Braking late exactly at the right place is key to being quick here. The car's very light, so we can carry a lot more speed through the corner. This track really plays well to our advantages. Porsche GT3 Cup driver Jos Janssen will have to do well here at Snetterton. After the previous round in Assen, he dropped out of the top three. He's a whopping 34 points behind Art Bosman, who's also had his fair share of bad luck this season. The fiercest battles could well be in the Supersport and Sport divisions, the touring car classes. The Supersport points leaders are Ronald and Loic van Loon, driving the former World Touring Car BMW, but their weekend doesn't start well and they end up 5th in qualifying.
De schokdemper is afgebroken.
We had a broken shock absorber. The mechanics did a great job to repair it in time for qualifying, but then we had another problem. We had dirt in the fuel filter and a rod broke on the anti-roll bar, so hasn't been going that well for us. Luke and Ronald do share the championship lead still, though, with Seat Leon drivers Dennis de Borst and Martin de Klein, who are 5 points ahead of their teammates Dennis Heuveling and Art-Jan Ringelberg. But De Borst and De Klein haven't been having much luck recently, with a host of small technical issues over recent race weekends. These problems not what you'd expect from a team like Ferry Monster Autosport, who've made the Seat Leon Cup Racer one of the most successful cars in the ultra-competitive Supersport class.
Nou, de elektronica is wel echt wel complex.
The electronics on this car are really complex. Seat Sport's built an amazing car, but it comes with this kind of electronics. We're investing thousands of euros in the right equipment so we can get a readout on all of our problems. We know exactly what the problem is, but then the next chapter is trying to find out what causes it. Yesterday we spent the whole day figuring it out, even this morning. We've worked really hard. I think we've fixed the problem now, though. De Borst and De Klein managed to secure fourth place in qualifying, with teammates Heuveling and Ringelberg second for Saturday's race and on pole for race 2. That's an extra point for them, which closes the gap to the championship leaders from 4 to 3. Amazingly close in Supersport after the first 5 race weekends. For the winners of the first race in Assen, Priscilla Spelman and Jan van der Kooi, the drama was whether or not they'd take part in qualifying at all. Frantic work going on the engine of the Lotus Exige as the minutes tick away. The Lotus factory is just 25 kilometres from Snetterton in Norfolk, but there's no time at all for the team to make a trip to the warehouse for spare parts. As Jan explains, they're trying to trace a misfire. Been having the problem all weekend. We're still working on it. Looks as though it's the timing. We're checking that right now. Haven't got much time left though, so sorry, we're going to have to get back to work. Their hard work is rewarded as the Exige joins the 30-minute qualifying session. But their problems aren't over yet. They're still stuck in 6th. Talking of hard work, after severe damage at Spa, who'd have thought that Van der Pass Racing would have a BMW at Assen for Erik van der Munkhoff, but they did. That didn't go according to plan either, and they headed home with the car even more severely damaged. Then everybody thought van der Munkhoff was done for the year, but again the team have managed to work miracles. Erik rewards their efforts with an impressive 3rd place on the grid for race 1 and 2nd for race 2. Brothers Robert and Benjamin Vanderberg were also hoping to go well in the previous round at Assen, but they too went away disappointed after engine problems. Despite frantic efforts, they failed to start either race. That chapter, though, is firmly closed as Robert grabs a dominant pole position at Snetterton with a time under 1 minute 59 seconds, 7 tenths quicker than his closest rival.
Ja, echt super.
Excellent. It's been perfect so far. In Assen we had a few issues with the engine, couldn't compete at all, so doing so well here feels great. For race 1 we managed to take pole. For Sunday's race we're 2nd. Fantastic. In the sport class, Belgians Chris Vogt and Bart van der Broek lie 2nd in the title race with the Peugeot RCZ. They've already won twice this season, but the last 2 race weekends the results have been disappointing, so they're really eager to come out on top here at Snetterton. The winners of the last race in Assen, Carlin Bergsma and Peder de Jong, are also hoping to hunt down their championship rival, leader Niels Kool. Lap after lap, they outdo each other with slightly better times in qualifying, but eventually the Lotus Exige drivers grab pole for both races in Norfolk.
We hadden 2 keer pole en op een gegeven moment...
We got 2 poles. Niels Kool and I were both waiting in the pit lane. Then it started to drizzle a little, so Niels left. He went off to sit another time. I jumped in the car as well, trying to make sure that we kept pole. Niels managed to go quicker, took pole position, but I was hot on his heels, managed to beat his time by the tiniest of margins. Pretty exciting. In typical British summer fashion, a beautiful morning on Saturday led to heavy rain for the afternoon's race. After 2 warm-up laps, the field was released for the first 90 minutes of the race weekend. An almost impossible task given the poor visibility from the sheets of spray. Tom Ashton in the Radical takes the lead, with Tim Gray in the Praga giving chase, but the Praga driver spins at the first corner. He would later rejoin the race in last place and eventually finish in 2nd after battling drive through the field, followed by race-long leader Tom Ashton dropping out with a broken drive shaft. Despite torrential rain and lots of aquaplaning, Oliver Campos Hull and Costa Canaroglu drove a faultless race. They never lost the lead once the Radical retired and even set the fastest lap. Victory for the championship contenders, but it was definitely not easy.
It is difficult, and in some places, especially towards the end, there was some aquaplaning. So that made it all, gave a bit of a shock. We didn't push at the end because we had quite a nice, buffer. So we decided to play it safe and just finish. So we conserved the car and took it easy towards the end, which was good for me as well. Oliver had the tough bit in the beginning, and he did a great job. Excellent times, fastest lap. So it's great for us.
An important race for the duo as Costa Canaroglu and Oliver Campos Hull retake the lead in the championship that they had earlier on in the year and only lost after they were unable to race in Assen. GTB duo Vard Slice and Michael Verhagen were taking no prisoners in race 1. They had third place overall before Vard was forced into the pits with soaring engine temperatures during his stint. Post-race, the team discovered it was seemingly an error on the display, but a number of cars had trouble in the treacherous rainy conditions. Not Porsche driver Jos Janssen though, who picked up his first win of the season, but he wasn't that happy either.
Nee, ik ben er ook te dik wel uit. Zeker 3-4.
No, not really. Went off 2 or 3 times on the standing water. The car was aquaplaning. It was all about keeping it on the tarmac. Haven't got much experience in these conditions, but all things put together, it turns out I had the best result. The touring cars in the Supersport class also struggled in the rain. It almost went badly wrong for championship leaders Dennis de Borst and Martin de Klein. Robert Vandenberg showed he was the fastest in the rain, building up a huge lead using his experience of the tricky 1 Series GTR. Younger brother Benjamin lacks that experience then, and after the pit stops, Robert saw their link shrink and shrink. Art-Jan Ringelberg was the danger man, closing in fast. In the final stages, Benjamin couldn't keep the yellow Seat behind him anymore, and Art-Jan Ringelberg and Dennis Heuveling, despite 30 result seconds, took their second win in a row. And that boosted them into the lead of the Supersport division because Ronald and Luc van Leeuwen came home in 4th, with Martin de Klein and Dennis de Borst just 7th. Victory in the sport class goes to Niels Kool with the Davidtech Engineering BMW 135i. Stan van Oord finishes second ahead of Chris Vogt and Barg van den Broek. Kool was very lucky though. He was handed a penalty because his pit stop was too short, massively too short in fact. He had such an advantage that despite a hefty penalty he still kept the lead, much to the dismay of his sport class rivals.
Ik weet niet hoe de gemoederen nu met de rest zijn. I
don't know if their minds are at ease now. A lot of the competition were really annoyed by the race control decision. I knew it'd be 1st or 5th. It could go either way. But it worked out in my favour. We did everything according to the rules. I managed to find a loophole, so let's see what happens in the next one. The second race of the weekend was held on a dry Snetterton circuit, delivering more great battles. Stay with us after the break for all the action. The Supercar Challenge is powered by Pirelli, Autosportinsurance.com, Syntix Innovative Lubricants, Magla, create your own digital magazine, and Valero, FIA-approved race and rally base layers. Welcome back to the Supercar Challenge powered by Pirelli, the 6th round of the series held at Snetterton in Norfolk, one of Britain's oldest tracks. Cars lining up on the grid prior to the second 90-minute race of the weekend, and happy faces at E2P Racing as Costa Canaroglu and Oliver Campos Hull have retaken the Super GT points lead. Ferry Monster Autosport are still running the leaders of the Supersport title race, but this time it's the Seat Leon pairing Dennis Heuveling and Art-Jan Ringelberg, and they start from pole in the second race of the weekend. On board ready for the start of the second race with Martin de Klein, 11th on the grid. Fiona James alongside in her Praga R1. You can see the yellow rear of Art-Jan Ringelberg, the pole Citroën Supersport. Away we go, and immediately Benjamin Vandenberg's white 1 Series pushing its way through. There's the red radical of Tom Ashton. He's taken the lead from Oliver Hewitt's Praga R1 and a spinner. Hewitt loses it over the curbs on the exit of Ritchie's. He's off on the outside. Looks like everybody's avoided him though. Eric van der Munkhoff trying to go around the outside of the Praga of Fiona James. She's just got in front of us, right up underneath her into the right-handed hairpin. And in front of her is Art-Jan Ringelberg Seat. That means he's lost the class lead to the BMW of Benjamin Vandenberg. There's Vard Slice ahead of the 2 Porsches. So he's got the jump in the GTB class ahead of Art Bosman. And right at the tail of the field, there is the Praga of Oliver Hewitt. Take a look again into Ritchie's the first corner, off the brakes, onto the power, driving through, and then snags it on the curb, loops into a spin. Race leader Tom Ashton romping away at the front of the field in the Radical. Benjamin Vandenberg leading in Supersport ahead of the red and black BMW of Kevin Clark, defending from Art-Jan Ringelberg, then Eric van der Munkhoff and Martin de Klein. Oliver Hewitt in the Praga carving his way into the group as they go into the S's. Benjamin Vandenberg, the leader, under real pressure from behind though. Former points leader Martin de Klein in 5th position. Eric van der Munkhoff right in front of him now. And there is Vandenberg. He's down to 3rd in class. Kevin Clark has got by, so too has Art-Jan Ringelberg. The youngster defending hard. Eric van der Munkhoff and Martin de Klein much more familiar with their cars. Now van der Munkhoff shows his nose on the inside and a mistake. Vandenberg loses 2 more places. Safety car is out. Priscilla Spellman in trouble. She's stuck beside the track at Williams. Well, here's what happens. Turns into the right-hander. Oh! And there's a loose wheel flying around.
Ja, het wiel is afgebroken. De 4 pinnen waar
The wheel broke off, she says. The wheel studs just snapped. Don't know why. I spun and the wheel ended up underneath the car, causing even more damage. Putting on a new wheel was out of the question, unfortunately, so that's the end of the race for us. Kevin Clark still leading from Art-Jan Ringelberg. Here's the battle for 3rd. Martin de Klein in the Seat, piling the pressure on Eric van der Munkhoff. Into the corner named after Lewis Hamilton. Van der Munkhoff drifts a little wide. The Seat with good drive on the inside and through the next left-hander. He'll have the advantage up to 3rd. There's Vandenberg right behind. A perfect Sunday for Tom Ashton and Rob Weldon. No dramas at all in the 90-minute race. They set the fastest lap in the low 1:49s and pushed despite a 1-minute lead over their closest rivals. Looks like they were content to prove that they are the fastest guys in Snetterton.
That was basically my main focus for the whole stint. Number 1 was just to sort of see what our comparative speed was to the Praga, so we knew that would be our main competition, and then with 10-12 minutes to go I just wanted to see what we could do. We were on for a faster lap, so really annoyed we didn't go a little bit quicker, but no, it's brilliant to come home with P1. Really happy, car was great and made amends for yesterday.
Tom and Rob joined on the podium by fellow Brits Oliver Hewitt and Tim Gray in the Praga. Oliver Campos Hull and Costa Canaroglu took 3rd place, and after their win on Saturday they extend their championship lead, and it might be a decisive blow, but their closest rivals left them with an open goal, opting not to come and race here at Snetterton. Despite having the most result seconds added to their pit stop time, Vard Slice and Michael Verhagen dominate the second race of the weekend, overhauling leader Art Bosman without much effort to make up for losing the lead in race 1. Shame the safety car came out really. We created a big gap to the others, which was all for nothing once the safety car appeared. Then all the calculators came into play. We had to work out a new strategy, had to push even harder in the second stint. But luckily, it all worked out well. Mathematically, Vard Slice and Chris Matthews could win the GTB Championship at Spa next time out. Though last time we were there in Belgium, they scored very few points after their car caught fire. Nearly time for the pit stops in Supersport. Luc van Loon has his work cut out for him. Father Ronald is at the back of the Supersport field. He'll have to push really hard to retake the championship lead. Similar story for Robert Vandenberg. His younger brother Benjamin lost the lead in his stint and has dropped right down the order. Benjamin not happy with himself as he hands the car over. I just outbraked myself, but then I decided I'd let the car run wide onto the grass to avoid flat spotting the tyres, because we had another 80 minutes or so to do, so couldn't risk ruining the tyres. I'm really disappointed to make the mistake, otherwise we'd be way up the leaderboard. But right now, Robert's really flying. He's doing 2:04s, which is insane. That's about 4 seconds quicker than our rivals. A shame I made the mistake, but I'll learn from it, and it'll be better next time out. Robert Vandenberg slices through the field, making it up into second place as they cross the finish line, with a little help from Erik van der Munkhoff, whose engine lets go in the closing stages.
Ik had wel een probleem in de bochten dat af en toe de olielampen aanging. En toen heb ik gevraagd...
Well, I already had a little warning that there was a problem from the red light. It started flashing when we were in the faster corners. So I checked with the team, said, what shall I do? And they said, well, if you keep the revs down, it should be okay. But I was coming along the start-finish straight, and then right out of the blue, the engine just blew up. Smoke, flames, not good news. It's a goner. With just 5 result seconds, Dennis de Borst and Martin de Klein take the lead in Supersport after the pit stops. After their troubles on Saturday, excitement for the new championship leaders. I was able to extend my lead over the others, went out with a 20-second lead, made it 25. So I was able to keep a normal pace after that. I got stuck behind GTB driver Art Bosman. I didn't want to take any chances, didn't overtake. In the final lap I went off, so that was nerve-wracking, but all ended up well. Car was excellent. Excellent too was Henk van Vliet. It's his first time on the podium and he's all on his own. He was up to second but couldn't hold off Robert Vandenberg at the end, but he's obviously very happy with this first podium finish. Car was great. Finally I learned how to get round all these corners and from then on it all went like clockwork. Shame I couldn't keep Robert behind me, but he was going really fast and I'm still really happy with this result. With 2 more race weekends at Spa and Assen, Supersport is still extremely close and a good Snetterton weekend keeps Robert Vandenberg still in the running for the title. Sport class lead battle. Niels Kool in the BMW hounding the Lotus of Carleen Bergsma. Tight corner, she's holding him off, but out of Murray's, the BMW uses the long front straight to grab the lead. And he's going to need a big advantage because he's got 60 result seconds to cope with. But he's out of luck as safety car wipes out his advantage. After the safety car, Chris Vogt has got by Carleen Bergsma. She tries to get back at Murray's. Bergsma eased out wide onto the grass. Chris Vogt in turn, as he says sorry, is passed by Stan van Oord, who takes the lead. But after the pit stops, they're no match for Peter de Jong, who takes a massive lead despite a loose diffuser. And together with Carleen Bergsma claiming their second race win of the season. Probably not the most comfortable car to drive though, with that diffuser chattering away underneath.
Ja, op een gegeven moment toen ik wat
Noise was deafening. I have to say I thought the whole car was falling apart. But the team told me over the radio it was just the diffuser loose, so nothing at the front. So I felt confident we'd finish the race. Really, it's fantastic. Finishing first feels great. Chris Hood and Bart Vandenbroek were handed a drive-through penalty for a mistimed pit stop, losing third to Rob Neiman, but heading towards the finish line, Vandenbroek managed to undo that, retaking third position, claiming it at the line by just half a second. Carleen Bergsma, Peter de Jong victorious from Stan van Oord, the Peugeot duo in third. And they will have to keep pushing hard. They're the most likely ones to make life difficult for Bart Drost and Niels Kool, the points leaders. And that is it for the 6th round of the championship. The Supercar Challenge powered by Pirelli moves on next time out to the mighty Spa-Francorchamps. And you can catch all the action here on Motors TV.
Dit programma wordt mede mogelijk gemaakt door Pirelli, Formido Deco Bouwmarkten, Syntix, ASC Ladders en Steigers, Valero en Makkler. Maak zelf je digitale magazine.